Well, Dr. Isuwa Dogo joins us now. He's a political scientist. Good morning, and thank you for coming on today.
Good morning. It's a pleasure.
Well, looking at all this scenario, let's look at it from leadership with respect to getting it right. But if you look at the activities and how they've been going about it, first of all, I mean, you have people who talked about all sorts of stereotypes in the mindset of the people, what they're saying, what they're not saying, what the leaders should be saying. How would you assess them so far with the goings on now?
Please permit me by starting to congratulate, I don't know whether it's Miss or Mrs. Anke Briggs. Her statements were incredibly objective, logical, reasonable, and I think I doff my hat for her. And she should keep it up. We want people like that to make objective statements. I also want to say thank you for bringing me here to discuss this issue. The issue of leadership is a very critical thing in the Nigerian context, and as we have seen, is not helping us in any way. Virtually every aspect of Nigeria has descended to some sort of local, what do I call it? Maybe we have decided to become local champions. We do not have national leaders any longer. And that is one of the key problems that we are having. Everybody is talking of his section, his unit, his village, his town, and his tribe, his religion, and all whatnot.
What makes you a national leader?
Huh?
What makes you a national leader?
What makes me? I'm not talking of just myself. I'm talking of
Nigeria. What makes a Nigerian?
What makes a national leader is
when about you.
What makes a national leader is when a person sees something that does not affect him as part of his own. Because when the Niger Delta issue was going on, many people, particularly from the north, thought it was not going to touch them. But you know, they were directly involved. They were directly touched. No part of the country that was not touched by what was going on. Anybody who has failed to see the need to address the issues of the Niger Delta is simply not doing himself any good. I've traversed the length and breadth of the Niger Delta. The only part of the Niger Delta I've not visited is Brass. And you know that up to now, as Ms. Briggs or Mrs. Briggs said, the issues have not been addressed. And even if 75% of the oil wealth is passed to the Niger Delta today, as canvassed by the National Assembly or by their leaders, the issues will not still be addressed. And you know that the mass poverty that exists there is even worse than that of the North. And so when there are truths, the truth should be said and should be carried out. And I believe that different approaches should be employed. I don't believe that assigning so much wealth to the leaders, that our leaders, Nigerian leaders generally at all levels, that are criminally corrupt and unrepentantly corrupt in all ways, they will help the issue. So, if it has not helped, there should be a better way to address the issue. Giving people, say, amnesty and training them to be this and that and all whatnot does not resolve the issue of the environmental degradation that exists in the Niger Delta. And it will not solve all the problems. The Niger Delta is not 30,000 or 60,000 or even 1 million and so forth and so on. And we are talking a whole mass of everything. Do you get it? That is one side. If I'm going to discuss that, somebody will start thinking otherwise. But let's leave it at that. But I believe sincerely that the solution is to map out strategies of what should be done and ask the oil companies to transform the Niger Delta without giving that money to anybody, either NDDC, either Ministry of Niger Delta, either oil this or oil that. After that has been resolved, then you can come to the issue of maybe saying, look, the Niger Delta, they should control their resources. Whether they are controlling or not, that is a different ball game altogether. We have to look at it. But for now, they need the development badly. Absolutely.
Are you saying
Now,
that the oil companies should be the ones to do that?
Absolutely.
What is the role of government?
There is a role of government. It's the government that is making them to do. That is the role of government. If you have, you say, look, build so and so schools, make so and so roads, have water, build housing estates, and you say you, Shell, you are operating in so and so area, this is your area of jurisdiction, to transform it the way you do in Europe, the way you do in America, they will do it. You tell Mobil to do the same thing in Akwa Ibom, they will do it.
Is it the oil companies that do it abroad?
If we cannot do it, if you ask them to, they will do it. If you would have one, the solutions solutions can be applied in different ways. For the fact that they are not the ones doing it and we know that they can do it here, what's wrong in asking them to do so? If you know that if you give the money to the likes of James Ibore and they will take away 99.999% of the money to different places or to any other person else, why would you want to do that? But if you ask those people to do so, they will do so.
Right.
Now we come to the real issue of leadership, and the leadership is not separated from the debate of the Boko Haram. I'm sorry even if I deviate from it a little bit. The northern leadership, ab initio, we have seen the failure of leadership across the country, isn't it? But I don't want to talk about that. But let us look at the very objective nature of what the Sultan said, isn't it? Grant these people amnesty. We have heard the debate across the country. People, Christians and Muslims alike, some have supported, some have objected to it, isn't it? But now let us start. Can it be said objectively that today we do not know who are members of Boko Haram? The answer is absolutely not correct.
Can it be said by who?
By those who are saying we do not know them, and therefore you cannot negotiate, you cannot say, what of those hundreds, if not thousands, that are in different jails? Are they not members?
Wait,
Can you start with them? Can we extract information? Can they give you pieces of information that can lead to you knowing who their leaders are? We are not talking of coercion. We are not talking of brutalism. We are talking of psychologists that know what to do and can talk with these people in their respective jails and let them understand that, look, the struggle they are doing is a different kettle of fish altogether, and the demand may not be exactly like that. Many of them must have gone into it without knowing the exact reasons why they were going into it. But if you say that they do not know the people that send them there, it is a lie. Because they are related, they were trained, and they associate with them. So why can't you start with them? So you definitely know that there are members of Boko Haram, and you have some of them in your custody. But if you go to brutalize and to kill them, they are not going to give you the information. If you go there and you know the way to do as it is done in the enlightened world, they will give you a lot of the information that you require.
So can it then be said that if you're asking for amnesty for members of the Boko Haram, you should perhaps know one or two persons who either directly or by association is linked with the group?
That is what I'm saying. And we know already, because you have not one or two. We probably have a couple of hundreds. We probably have a couple of thousands. There are many of them in different jails. Unless if you are telling me that those people you have arrested and locked them up there are not members of the Boko Haram. So if you already have them, how can you say that you don't know them? If you already have them, what is the work of intelligence not to extract information and to know who their leaders are? It is not in all cases that a person will have to come and say, look, I need it. You know, just as it was offered to the Niger Delta, they didn't ask for it, but they had ways, as Ms. Briggs said, you know, and they discussed, they analyzed it. So many things could come into play, and you can actually have a working relationship. By the time you say that a person has committed too much atrocities and therefore cannot be forgiven, I find it difficult to understand. Because Jesus at the cross, in Luke 23, verse 34, even at the cross, he said, Father, forgive them, for they do not know what they are doing. Didn't he say so? the thief on the right hand when he asked for